What's going on, guys? JSGC 171 here, and we are here to conclude the little loan report that we've got 4 parts on. So this is just going to be called a loan summary, and I'm going to basically assess how the players out on loan at Man City have performed this season and what their future prospects are with the club and what may happen with them next season going into the 2017 and 18 season. So we'll start first with the positives. So I think the big 2 standout performances are Aaron Mooy on loan at Huddersfield and Unal, who has completed his loan spell with FC Twente over in the Eredivisie in the Netherlands. Now them 2 players are probably good enough to be rotated and backup players, but as seen as both of them aren't actually homegrown at Man City, I don't really see Man City utilising either of them. So I think Aaron Mooy is destined to be playing, well, he's been player of the year for Huddersfield. And Huddersfield have done great in the Championship, so certainly for a top Championship club or maybe some team in the Premier League is something that he'd be aiming for. He's a bit of a strange signing because he's not homegrown, he's Australian. He's 26 years old, so where he ends up, he's been great at Huddersfield, like I said, so it wouldn't surprise me if a top Championship club signed him up, or maybe even heading into the Premier League, who knows. That's his potential, so hopefully that will probably get sorted soon, so we have a rough idea where we stand with the Man City squad, and we know what's happening. Now, Enes Unal, again, he needs another year's loan. Now, I think we need to stop sending players out on loan to the Netherlands that have got a great potential to be able to make it in the top divisions in England. So, Enes Unal's in the top 5 top goal scorers in the Eredivisie this season. But we've seen players like Memphis Depay come over and not do too well in the Premier League. So, Enes Unal's a striker who, when plays a lot of games and gets game time, will score goals. And the Premier League's so much demanding that they demand you to score goals all the time that if you don't score goals basically in the first 4, 5, 6 games, you probably won't be playing for the club that much for the season. So he needs to find a club that he knows he's going to get game time. So I'd be tempted if I was him to maybe do what Mooy's done this season, which is drop down to the Championship. If he can go out there and score a lot of goals in the Championship, then there's no reason why top clubs not top clubs, but why the larger clubs in the Premier League can't come sniffing around and sign him up. It's a bit difficult though, because we've seen players like Jordan Rhodes do so well in the Championship, and then they get the move to the Premier League and end up not doing so well, end up going back. So you don't really want to get stuck into that. He's 20 years old, he's getting into it. So I think, this is just my opinion, I think he's destined to go abroad somewhere. I think somewhere like France would really suit Enes Unal. I think one of the clubs in France, if he could guarantee that he'd get play time, then, I think he'd end up like Iheanacho. I mean, he could play games, but it would be so few and far between at Man City that for the sake of his career, because he's a good player like Iheanacho, like Mooy, all them players fit into the same mould where they're not top Premier League players, so they're not going to win Man City trophies. They're not going to take Man City to that next level in the Champions League. So for the good of their career, they need to go and find a club where they're going to be the star main man. Now, very difficult in the Premier League with so much money and signings and demand out there that they kind of need to just... if I were them, I'd advise that they move abroad somewhere and try and make themselves over there. And if they do really well out abroad, they could well come back to the monies of the Premier League and end up proving themselves there. We've seen it with De Bruyne. He's done it. We've seen it with such other players. We've seen other players do it too. We've also seen Marcus Alonso do it. Go from Bolton over to Italy, do well in Italy, come back, ends up playing for Chelsea, getting a massive promotion and winning the Premier League. So, yeah, can be done. Moving on with the other loan players, we'll just kind of rush along with them. We've got players like Smith-Brown that have gone out on loan. We've had players like Brandon Barker go out on loan. We've had other players. We've had players like Angelino and Maffeo out on loan. So they're all going to come back to the club, and I'd really like to see them perhaps be given a chance on loan in England if you're going to loan them out, rather than sending them abroad to our feeder clubs like Girona and Breda out in the Netherlands. Send them out to the League One, send them out to the Championship. Let's really, we'll see what they're made of. If they're not going to be good enough, I mean, they might be good enough for that level, so we could end up selling them on and for the sake of their careers. can be done, should be done, rather than just keep sending them abroad to get all this experience. I think some of these players should be given a chance in England to see what they can do. Only then can you tell if they're going to be good enough in this country or not. So that's just my opinion. So I think we'll expect to see quite a lot of the players that have been out on loan this season go out on loan again next season. We're still waiting for Man City just to release, which will probably in the next month or so release who they'll be releasing from the academy, from their under-21s, from the EDS team. Then we'll have a rough idea of what Man City make for the players. Then I'll have a fair reflection on where they're at. So I think in terms of actual players getting promoted to the Man City first team, we did promote Maffeo, and we thought we might see Angelino there as well, but they ended up kind of filtering out away on loan. And as they've got out on loan, they've not done fabulously, like really impressed and ripped divisions apart to a point where you think, oh, they're far too good for this division. So I think we may well see them head out on loan again. So I think in terms of homegrown players, we might be having Garcia and Gunn again into the side. I'd like to see a couple more of the youth academy players, see what they can do. I'd love to see a player like Phil Foden sent out on loan, to see what he can do. I mean, are they progressing playing in the under-18s and playing for the EDS? Is that really competitive enough? The only way you can tell if you're going to be a good football player at the ages of 17 and 18 is playing against professional football players who are a lot more senior than you, a lot more experienced, and showing them how to play football. That's how you end up becoming the top of the tree for young football players. So I'd love to see them have a loan, even if it's just for a few months, for a season, just to see what they can do. Nothing would please me more than to see Phil Foden head out on loan into the Championship and go and score 10, 15 goals in the Championship and say, you know what, I'm a really solid Championship striker. He's not even the age of 20. He's nowhere near 20 yet. He's still got a couple of years to go. He's proved it in the under-18s team that he's good enough. So head him out. That's what I would do with players like that. See what they're made of, because they're not going to get promoted to the Man City first team this season. I think Man City are more focused on being rid of the wage and of the kind of deadwood and replacing it with a core squad of about 21, 22 players, and then just going to use players like Gunn, like Garcia, just to kind of make the squad around and really limit it down. It helps with the wage, and it helps with the solidness of the squad. And they can also have a choice then of some of the EDS academy players if they needed, if they end up having serious injury problems. So I think that kind of brings a nice little loan summary report to an end. You can check out all the previous parts of 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is just going to be titled the loan summary, and it brings to an end the 2016-17 loan period for me. So we'll do again next year around the same time, and we'll see what we can make of the 2017-18 season. But for this season, I'm going to give a big shout out to Unal and Mooy for really impressing out on loan. And we'll see how many players head out on loan next season, see how many players get promoted and end up staying or getting released, and then you'll have your fair judgment then. So stay tuned for more Manchester City videos. There will be some of the retained list for the senior squad release, so I'm going to do a video on that. There's going to be another video for new signings, so we'll be seeing more videos of who Man City signed, and then we'll be seeing videos also of a little summary around the divisions in England and how the transfer market's going. So expect to see them weekly, every 2 weeks. You may see the videos. For the lower league ones, I may just do 1 or 2 videos towards the end of the transfer window when the season starts to get up and rolling again, to give us a fair assessment of where everything lies. I love this part of the season. It adds, because there's no matches on this, what I really look forward to is watching who managers deemed to have blamed, who the club directors and managers and owners deemed to have blamed, and then moving that on and making some kind of summary as to what direction the clubs can head into for next season. So we'll be seeing a fair few more football videos, which I really enjoy making. So check out the previous loan report videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and then keep a lookout for more videos for where the Premier League and transfers are heading, and we'll have a nice little football debate / conversation going on, and a nice little summary and analysis of where everything's happening. So we'll see you for the next part, which will be the Man City's retained list. This has been JSGC 171. Hope you all have a nice day. Peace. Ciao for now.